Boa tarde, São Paulo! Vocês estão gostando? Vocês querem ver a partida do LG IEM contra Meteor Makers? Então agora eu vou chamar para uma pequena entrevista. I'm gonna call for a quick interview. Lilac. Lilac. The crowd played a huge factor in your loss to Kaid. And what do you expect to do to win their favor?
저기 지금 좀 센 팀이 와가지고 어떤 이길 자신이 있는지 아니면 스트래티지가 하나 있는지 그거를 알고 싶어서.
MYM이 강한 팀이긴 하지만 그래도 저희가 이번 세미파이널에서는 2대 0으로 올라갈 겁니다.
Ele falou que a MYM é um time forte, só que ele vai ganhar de 2-0.
He said that MYM is a strong team, but they will win 2-0. Can we expect huge stomps?
você pode 지금 여기 안에서 지금 탑레인에서 진짜 이길 자신이 있는지 아니면 이렇게 보통으로 할 건지.
물론 이길 자신 있고 그리고 이제 그냥 이기겠습니다.
Ele falou que só vai ganhar.
He's just going to win. 감사합니다. Good luck. And now please welcome to the stage Mukata. So the crowd is a little divided today. What will you do to win their favor?
I just wanted to say that with such crowd, you guys deserve to have at least one Brazilian team in semi-final. And I kind of feel sad that yesterday you guys didn't make it. But for now, I hope that you will show once again how amazing and how loud you can be, and that you will cheer for us the same way you would cheer for your very own teams.
Ele quis dizer que com uma plateia tão grande, barulhenta e querida como vocês, o Brasil merecia ter uma vaga na semifinal. Ele ficou triste por causa disso, mas ele espera que vocês possam torcer por ele, que ele vai vingar os brasileiros.
Yeah. Obrigado!
Thank you. Good luck on your match. And now we go back to our English commentators.
Well, no commentary team here, thankfully. You wouldn't catch me doing any League of Legends. It would be awful. Luckily, I have two guys alongside me who know everything there is to need to know on an analysis desk. Joe and Jason rejoining us on the analysis desk. Freak and Rivington will be covering this one. We are in the semi-finals. We've seen both these teams, Incredible Miracle and, of course, MYM, both lose a game already at this tournament. So we know that they're fragile. We know that they both can get beaten. But I guess my first question to both of you is that Incredible Miracle still remain the team to beat.
They do, most definitely. I mean, they had that game yesterday where they lost to the Brazilian side. Something tells me that overnight they'll have said, we can't afford to let this happen anymore. They're going to come probably stronger today than they did yesterday. I say probably, I mean definitely stronger than they did yesterday. They're going to be a lot more focused. We heard there in the interview that they said, we're going to win this one 2-0.
Yep.
Asked if they were going to be stomped, they said we're just going to win, and that's how they're going to play. I mean, their first game yesterday against the Nexus was so clinical, so perfectly executed, and that's what they're going to be aiming for again today.
Yeah, and MYM, Jason, they obviously had that loss against Millennium in the groups. Millennium have now lost to a Nexus, which would, in theory, make Group B much stronger. Can you see them coming through against Incredible Miracle?
They're always a strong team, and to me, they're a team about kind of emotion and passion. You know how passionate each of these players are. I mean, you hear them. I guarantee we're going to hear them on the other side of the stage right now. And I really hope that they're going to bring the A game that they've seemed to have been unable to do the past couple of tournaments. I mean, in skirmishes Katowice, they didn't do too well, unfortunately. They got knocked out. Actually, they did pretty good, but they got knocked out because of time, because of the tiebreaker. And at the LCS, they stomped their group stage, or their group, but then after that, they kind of just didn't really do too well. And I don't know if they bring their A game. If Charu definitely steps up, which he seems to always do as a mid player, they definitely have a chance.
Okay, some would say that this is comparable perhaps to the quality of teams that we had at Singapore, where MYM of course won one of the stops this year. So what's stopping them other than LGIM being in the way? And do you think having the Polish side already through to the final, does that give them a little bit more like we really want to get through to that final now?
See, I disagree somewhat in saying that this is the same strength of field as Singapore. I think this is a lot stronger. I think the Brazilian teams here in particular have shown that, okay, we had a team called Armageddon there, which we won't go into in terms of intelligent mass Singapore, but the local teams I don't think were as strong as the Brazilian teams here. LGIM have already lost to one of those Brazilian teams. Meet Your Makers lost a game as well in day number 1, so I think this is a really hard one to call, but I just think the whole Korean mentality of, they'll have been pushed overnight by themselves, by their management team, no doubt, in terms of go there tomorrow, do yourselves proud, and, do your country proud, because that is part of the Korean mentality, that you are representing Korea as well in the international field.
Yeah, I said earlier on, the team manager allegedly said last night to his team, if you drop another map in this tournament, then you're a disgrace to your country. Now, wow, pretty strong words. So, let's see if they can actually get through the picks and bans already. So we'll stop that story right now and we'll head to the picks and bans and see where we go with these bans. It's Elise first out and Kazakhs that was like the fastest ban out straight away.
Yeah, MYM definitely knows what they want to ban out against LGIM, and I'm really curious to see if they're going to go for maybe a potential Wukong pickup, because Charu did exceptionally well with them at LCS, and he's just an all-around good player, so he can play pretty much anything there. I know he's been working on that quite a bit. And Meet Your Makers, one thing that's really interesting about them is that they're this hyper-aggressive team. And Joe, I know you can easily go into this, how you've been casting with Demon about them for pretty much a year, and they're really one of those teams that can bring a fight into a Korean team.
For over a year and a half by now. I mean, they made their name in Go for LOL back in the online days there. They then went to WCG Korea, got second with a different top laner, albeit. But, this team was traditionally at level 1 of the strongest around. They were the first ones to really bring out those pink wards en masse. And I think the way that the game's set up right now, it really favors pink wards as well. So that should play into Meet Your Maker's style. How they're going to prepare against LGIM, I'm sure they'll have watched some VODs from OGN Champions, for example. But you can see here that they certainly have a plan. They've taken pretty much no time whatsoever in banning out that Kazakhs Olaf and Jace.
We still have that Wukong available that I was kind of mentioning. We also have Zyra, which looks pretty much amazing. He played 2 out of the 3 games yesterday. That third one was Sona. And I'm curious to see if they'll actually go for that, or maybe kind of just go for, I guess, a top laner, actually. Because as I say that, they actually do go for that Rumble, so they can obviously do a lane switch with that. They have done that before. They ran that yesterday, actually, against a Zyra Urgot combo and pulled it off pretty well. And the Twisted Fate, I'm still not a huge fan of that, but we'll see how it works out for them this time. And they're giving Ring that Lee Sin, Joe.
Yeah, that's a problem for them. We know that Ring is a fantastic Lee Sin player. On the other hand, you've got Twisted Fate, who Charu is very, very good on. We've seen teams banning him throughout this tournament. Actually, he's the most banned champion against Meet Your Makers so far this tournament, and I could probably hazard a guess at the last 5 or 6 tournaments as well. Charu has not really been allowed to play that Twisted Fate. There's a Rumble in there. Ezreal here being picked up by LGIM. Obviously, Misfortune has been taken out. Amumu is still open, but I'm not sure whether we'll see that. Maybe we will from Meet Your Makers if they go with this Zyra pick.
The thing is, we don't really see Makade actually run Amumu too much. I mean, he's been running KO, he's been running, well, not this tournament, but Udyr. He's always really well known for that Udyr. So I wouldn't be too surprised to see, if actually KO gets through, because he hasn't been banned, hasn't been picked up yet. Graves, I mean, we've seen him kind of come back a little bit in this tournament. He's such a bursty champion. He has a decent escape mechanism. Looks like he's actually going to be running that cleanse on top of that. But we'll see what happens.
Let's see then what LGIM are going to go for. You got the Lee Sin, Chao, and Ezreal. No Zyra as a support this time around. So yeah, Lulu, Sona. pretty much the two options that are open at this point. Obviously, could be a Blitzcrank at the end of the day as well, but...
One thing we need to mention, though, is that you have Ring going to be on Lee Sin in the jungle. You have Xin Zhao, so we're actually going to see him finally not in the jungle for once this tournament. He might be in the top, might even be in the mid lane, because we have seen Froggen play him quite a bit in the mid lane. He's very devastating against very squishy champions, and Twisted Fate is one of those.
Well, let's see. There is a Carcass Leona. Wow. Wow, didn't expect Leona to come out
really
there.
didn't. It gives them a lot of control for their team. If you get a nice Leona initiate, you get them all grouped up in that Sunflare, and then you have Xin Zhao go in and spread them all right back out. Completely sets you up for a fight. Also, that's a very aggressive bottom lane against a very squishy, potentially Zyra, or a kind of tanky Graves.
So what a Meteor Maker's going to finish off with here. We've got Zyra, who said it's squishy. I'd imagine something a bit tankier here coming down. Like you said, Udyr is definitely an option, but I don't expect that to come out here for Makato whatsoever. I mean, we've seen him playing it, I'd say more often than anyone else. Yeah, there it is, a Mundo.
Yeah, I mean, Amumu's not really, I guess, his type of style to play in the jungle, and that gives you a lot of beef. It gives you a decent amount of control in terms of you can slow, so if you're trying to disengage, you have, the Zyra to pop that up as well. The thing is, in my opinion, you want some sort of CC out of your jungle if you're going to have a Twisted Fate. Because you can really make ganks work for you. You have a Zyra, obviously has that grass root to kind of lock you down, but that's about it for their, hard CC. So you're going to have a tough time against that Leona lane. It's going to be very devastating against them. But then again, Joe, we've talked about before, if you're in a very aggressive lane with like a Leona, Ezreal, if you fall behind in the beginning, you're just going to fall that much further behind throughout the rest of the game.
Well, yeah, it's hard to be aggressive when you're behind. That's the point, and that's what you kind of have to do when you've got that Leona in there. She, not giving any sustain over towards Ezreal. It's all about protection and getting in there for the fights with her. So that'll certainly be an interesting thing to look at. You can see that Makler going for that cleanse, which is no real surprise when you've got a Leona in there as well. And as per usual, Charu, even when playing Twisted Fate, takes teleport.
Yeah, he takes teleport on pretty much anything these days. But Joe, I mean, look at the teams. Who do you really have your money on? We have a really hard engaged, really tanky team for LGIM, and on the other side, we have just kind of an all-around, spread-out team.
I'm going to go with LGIM. I said it at the start of this one without even seeing the picks. I really like their lineup there as well. I'm just interested to see what impact Charu's going to have on this game, because my opinion is that he really has to get involved. We saw in that last game that, Twisted Fate, if he doesn't get involved, it can't impact the game in the way that you need a mid lane player to do.
Yeah, completely agree.
He actually got ruined in that last game, didn't he? He was level 2 to level 6 at one point and never really had any impact. So yeah, that's going to a key point to watch. We are pretty much ready for the game. It is the passionate Poles against the crazy Koreans. It's LGIM up against MYM for a place in the grand final where a Nexus already wait for them.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to the caster's desk of Intel Extreme Masters Brazil. Rivington third here with Freak, and I'm just excited for this matchup. I'm wait, no, we got to present ourselves first. But it is going to be the Koreans versus the Poles, and we've seen the Koreans lose a matchup here. They have a little bit of momentum from their coach behind them. We heard what Paul said earlier, but this LGIM team is scary.
They are. You gave Ring Troll his favorite champion, his best champion, Jungle Lee Sin. You've got a really awesome top laner, a Lilac on Xin Zhao, who's been doing phenomenally well throughout this tournament. Not the most contested pick, but I think the right team's been grabbing him and doing very, very well with that champion. And just in general, you look down that lineup, and LGIM, they are a pretty stacked team. They are one of the best teams in Korea, one of the best teams in the world. Meet Your Maker is definitely one of the best teams in Europe, but generally speaking, they're against a very tough opponent here.
Freak coming in, Leona is going to be the first time she is picked here, so we'll have to see how they use her to engage. Obviously, it's that over 1,000 range Solar Flare to start off these fights, but it's just going to be that dive team. Lilac and Ring coming in, Mid King trying to zone for Paragon. I think they have a really good team fight setup, but as well as that early game from Xin Zhao. Coming in on the other side, we've seen Rumble going for a tanky build. 2 games straight in a row, and it's been very effective, especially just baiting out ultimates. So we'll see if Kuban can replicate what has happened in this past match.
And right off the bat, we're actually seeing Meet Your Makers with an aggressive opening. They sent their support down, I believe their support down to put a ward down on their own golem buff, but they're all kind of coming back over here, and they're looking, this looks like a late invade on blue, basically. Xin Zhao's already left that top lane, a Lilac, He's standing in a very weird spot, though, because the thing is for LGIM, they don't have great ward coverage, and so it's a little bit easy for MYM to kind of sneak in across the map. But with Rumble recalling, I think he's going to go bottom, and they're going to late steal blue, and then they're going to have a really, really tough line. LGIM's going to have a tough time dealing with this top lane.
This is probably their best bet. Karthus is going to be really reliant on that blue, and even if they can get the timer on this, they can harass the second one, and they are just sitting up there for that late invade, Freak.
Now, the one thing that they might have to their advantage is this ward, I believe, did spot Dr. Mundo going up this way, so they might know this invade is happening. The tricky thing, though, is will Lilac find anyone? There's LGIM's vision. They see him. They do not see Lilac. The cleaver goes out. MYM does not know they're spotted. There's the ward. Now they know.
So they have the timer, and they have everything they want pushing out Lilac here. It's going to be a little bit slower for him to get around this jungle. Very nice job, and with that jungle going right back into his own, and the AD carry and support going top, they're losing nothing on this.
So that'll be just a straight-up setup here. This would be a little bit difficult for Kuban, but this was their idea. MYM Makers decided they wanted to 2 versus 1, let Rumble have this little bit of a rough lane, and completely zone out Xin Zhao. And I like that choice. Xin Zhao's going to have a much harder time in that sort of matchup than Rumble will. But LGIM are stealing the blue. Very good adaptation by them to know that was coming from the first place.
So it looks like the lanes will just match up with the AD carry support, swap, and the tops. They see Rumble trying to, or Kuban rather, sees LGIM in his own jungle. Up top lane, there's a little bit of aggression here as he goes very strong, looking for first blood. A 2v1, and he finds it. A Lilac coming up huge, but one last auto attack makes it a 1-for-1.
The funny thing with that is, though, that actually goes in Meteor Maker's favor, because Lilac picked up 400 gold for first blood.
Right.
Meteor Maker's picked up 450 for a kill and an assist. And it also means that Graves is getting solo XP and Xin Zhao's picking up nothing. If Graves can push this to the turret in time, Lilac will get none of this experience and be even farther behind. He should normally get all this XP for himself, and he's about to lose a lot of it.
The 3-minute mark of the junglers coming bottom. They are going to see, but they dive in, especially with him there. The 3v1 situation, he will not make it out of this one. There's the teleport. The gold calls came out a little late. A beautiful and quick arcane shift gets him out, and they pick up 2 kills on the go.
Oh man, the teleport from Twisted Fate not showing up in time. Paragon just out of turret range when the gold card stun landed, and he just took so much punishment through that. Amazing, amazing tower dive there by LGIM. Sorry I picked that one up a little bit late, but dang, that was a nice move.
Freak, they're creating action in every lane. I almost missed that myself. The only reason I heard it is because of the sound, or noticed it was because of the sound. Lilac now pushing back Libic here. Graves to come back to lane. Looks like he actually has bought himself a pink ward, so maybe once they get this pushed up, they want these wards cleared. They know they need to shut down Zinmore. After that first blood, is he going to get himself a second one? Mackler comes in just in time.
And Lilac actually, in retrospect, he had actually opened up with Red Elixir and Potion, so he was looking to play aggressively from the get-go. But the damage he got from that helped him out there. And now he's got a Doran's Blades who's got even more attack damage. He's sitting at 104.
Oh my gosh, he's being so aggressive right now. He may go down here. One last shot, the quick draw is there, and it is going to be actually the spike. So a little cool that it went to the support for them.
Well, it allowed him to get some items really, really quickly. Of course, Libic, already with the Fairy Charm, will allow him to go for a Philosopher's Stone, I think actually right now if he wants to. But right now, of course, they have to kind of deal with Ring Troll in this top lane. Mokate, unfortunately, that pink ward did not see this sight ward there, so they think they don't know Mokate's there, but LGIM does know this.
Looks like they are trying to push him back to the tower. Mundo won't come out for the lane gank. They almost get the grasping root there, but it looks like Xin, they may try to do something on this as well. Libic is very low, and it's just been a focus of Lilac when he gets to lane, and Lee Sin is not moving ring. They may go in for an attack here.
And we'll see what ends up happening, because Xin Zhao's coming. He's from the side. He does not have flash, though, so most of the engages will be very easily read right here. Ring lands a clue. Oh, here he goes.
Yep, they are going for Libic. They get the slow, and the cripple down. A great grasping root could keep him alive. He's forced to dash to the plant, and they lose all of their gap closers, Freak. The reinitiation and knowledge of Mukate to know that that lane was getting pushed, and we would see Lilac back there comes to help the counter.
That was a very nice move, Ring Troll. You know, Wing over to a ward just to land the Q more easily, and then having that cooldown back in time to get away without dying. And LGIM even still have a great situation because they're going to get that bottom turret right now, and they're going to run right out. They try to zone Rumble away. Of course, he's already recalling. This is a very smart ward right here. We'll keep them from getting ganked later on down this lane, and they'll shove this and probably buy some items and then swap back.
A little bit of a gold lead here, about 2,000 right now after those first few kills. LGIM making a big impact in the beginning of the game, But MYM is still scratching right at them. We're scratching back. 2 kills to 3 kills right now at 6 minutes. And that first turret only opens up the top lane. It's really no focus for Dragon. It's no focus for mid. So that really just becomes a farm fest up there.
This will be difficult. So Kuban, yeah, he's going to be able to get some farm pretty easily, but LGIM have really pushed themselves ahead here, up 2,000 gold. And they don't really show any signs of slowing down. So that turret is theirs. They've been able to defend this turret very well. It's at 80% health. Lilac, despite having what I called as a rough lane, is actually thriving quite well. He's actually beating Graves in minion kills. So that'll tell you how well Lilac's doing in a 1 vs 2 here.
Coming out with that aggression of the red pot. Haven't seen it for quite some time. We saw it a little bit in Thailand as well, though. But these guys seem to like that quick aggression on the HP. 7 minutes into this one, more pings are going down. It looks like they're going to poise 3 top here as they switch up the lanes after being destroyed. Lilac doing a very good job of using his gap closer, making them want it even more because here comes Paragon. He is almost in range, kind of shoots a minion there. They're like, we'll just push him back. So they decide to really take that one down.
All right, but Lasha's now pink warded this brush, which is going to give them a lot of coverage for ganks. And MYM will no longer see junglers come into that lane unless they go through tri-brush, which is not that likely for LGIM's jungler. So we'll see what ends up happening here, but this is not a good situation for Meet Your Makers.
The pings down from both teams. Meet Your Makers saying there is a pink ward in this bush right here. They keep pinging it. And they're very afraid of what could happen here. They did get pushed back a little bit. They think that Xin has stayed in the bush and came back around, but I wouldn't blame him. Lilac has been very aggressive right now, and Ring is bottom. So it looks like they are going to be going on to Rumble down bottom. Can it be enough time? Ring pulls the bait out, and Rumble is going to bite for it. He is just walking around taking a bit of damage. Can he get out of this one? And there's Xin to come in, Freak. He's going to get the 3-talon strike. Does he have the scrap shield to get away? The movement speed, but the flash attack to pick it up.
That was excellent by Ring. He just baited all the cooldowns out and then said, all right, I'm going to run, and ran away. Knew exactly how much damage he would take there. Didn't have his ultimate, didn't care. Didn't have flash, still knew he'd get out. It was a very well-measured engage there. Knowing he would survive against Rumble was huge.
LGIM playing such a good mental game right now in the baits. They've picked up at least 75% of their kills that way. They only have 4, but it has just been meticulous in the way they are orchestrating their attacks.
Now the counter pick, we're coming from the top lane, and Meet Your Makers needs to make some moves themselves. They finally got Charu up to level 7. He's got Destiny, hasn't used it yet. We'll see if he goes for it. But this game has been LGIM being meticulous, as you said, and meticulous. Yeah, meticulous, as you said.
Yes,
and making all the moves. They've been aggressive. They've been finding the kills, and it's been successful for them. Meet Your Makers needs to turn that back on its head and make some moves themselves.
Just allowing Lilac to get his farm up down in that bottom lane as Rumble tries to push it out. Kuban a little bit behind in this one as Lilac really ready for battle already. The Haunting guy is trying to come out on Rumble, so it will not be the rush for the Warmogs for the first time. We'll see how that affects the battle, especially when we get to these 5v5s, but they do have the Mundo to kind of take up that Warmogs position for him.
Yeah, having a tank is very, very useful. It's very worthwhile there. And here they go onto Libic.
Solar Flare hits almost onto Libic. A great ultimate is going to pop them up, but it looks like Graves Mackler going too deep, trying to find the 1-for-1. A great Dragon's Rage will stop him from being able to do any damage.
There they go. They're going to follow back up. There's Twisted Fate.
Wow. Lasha going in very strong. The Requiem comes down. She wouldn't be able to pick it up there.
I forgot Carlos was even in that game. He was securely in his lane farming with no impact from anyone. There's a root onto Lasha. They might go in.
They are still being very aggressive here. Low health bars are just making everybody so bloodthirsty. Continuing, Mundo tries to get to the tower. Paragon lives with a sliver of health. His ultimate is on. The movement speed is there, and he can take another hit now. There's the Rumble ultimate all the way over the wall to take down Paragon finally. And Karthus is going to come in, but he's not doing any damage almost. Finally taking down Mundo.
That was excellent dodging by Mokate. Actually dodged out every single lay waste. Unfortunately, Defile was there, and Lee Sin was there. They found that for themselves. However, Lilac,
oh man,
he is doing quite well. He's soloing up there in that right-hand side lane. TF is not really going to stop him easily.
He was just about 30 CS, 40 CS behind his own mid. Now he's within 20. That is not going to be good if he can just continue to farm that bottom lane by himself. 10 minutes in, there's really been no Dragon aggression. It's a lot of top lane focus, something we usually don't see.
Yeah, it is very interesting that's kind of where all the action is coming from, but
I guess that's what you get when you get the 80 carries up there, right?
Yeah, and it's what happens when you get Leona in there as well. She likes to start fights, likes to go for the aggression, and both teams can easily follow up.
TF porting into mid. No, he's not actually going. Yes, he had to teleport it into mid. Lilac, one more turret shot goes out. Oh, it will take him down. 6-4.
And Charu, really good wave through there, good teleport in time. The ult from Sinjao almost saved his life, did not though. Great counterattack there. Now less than 2,000 gold is the lead. So Meteor Makers have actually closed the gap over the last 6 minutes or so. They've been doing very well for themselves here. Charu getting quite a bit of farm. And the one thing to keep in mind for Meteor Makers is they get a lot of free gold by having Twisted Fate on their team. And by having these lanes be safe and farm fast, that accelerates them.
And he used the teleport to use the Destiny there. A great job by Ring to get away. He had to use his flash, but he's safe with the red buff.
That was that was really well executed. He W'd to a minion, got far away, thought he still might be in range of gold card and flashed right after. Good execution there. That's kind of why you're seeing Ring. He's just that good on Lee Sin. He finds the ways to get out of every situation. He's 2-0-3. He's been in 5 of his 6 team's kills. He's never died.
So for such an aggressive lane, I really thought to see Zyra or Libic go down a little bit more, but they're playing this quite well. It's become one of the 50-50 lanes. Who would you give this lane to? I guess early aggression, Leona, but Zyra also has that crowd control.
Honestly, it's a lane that I feel like is a little bit easier for the Zyra Graves lane because they can tend to beat all-ins with good roots and good sort of disengage from Zyra. Right. But if she ever gets caught twice, oh, sorry about that, Dragon going down, Rumble a little late on the steal there. I think, he was looking for Ring, and Ring
dodged out with safeguard.
Yeah, safeguarded to a Karthus and got out.
Oh, that top, the ultimate going down from Zyra, but a beautiful solar flare to answer. Good damage there from the Sunlight proc. Can they get it to go down? And still, Libic, knowing he needs to throw abilities out during this fight, is pushing Paragon back. A sliver of health for Libic as he's totally out of the fight now. The wild charge to clean it up, and a collateral damage to say thank you very much.
And Kuban, though, in a bad place. Lilac picks him up, but that was an excellent, excellent fight. And you called it exactly. Libic, knowing he needed to go back into that fight, said, Requiem's happening, but I'm out of range of the rest of your team, so let's go for this one. Put out a little bit of extra damage, a little bit of attention onto him. Great re-engage, and that's the thing, right? If you do not one-shot a support, if she doesn't go down, you've let an AD carry hit you the entire time, and that's what happens when an AD carry hits you the entire time.
Looks like we have Xin. Lilac was going to back there. Oh, he's going to clear the ward. Possibly. They got a ping on it. They know it's there. Oh, he's going for blue. Then he's going to clear the ward. He's just getting all the gold for himself. Graves are turning to top lane. No, he decides not to. So Mackler kind of going the wrong way at first. They have to figure out where they're going to start zoning now, where they're going to start dictating these fights. And who has that fight at this point, 13 minutes into the game, Freak? I think 5-on-5.
Both teams would have the chance to start fights out of pretty much nowhere. They've got the long range solar flare from Leona. The team can easily follow up on that. Of course, Mid King on Karthus can always drop the Requiem. Ezreal's got a long range, global range ultimate as well, so they can start fights with no problem here, LGIM. On the same side, though, Meteor Makers has super long range on Rumble's ultimate. They've got Twisted Fate with Destiny, so both teams can look for fights, and it's going to be positioning based. Because both teams can show up, they've got globals on both sides. You've got to be very careful about who engages, and it's going to be a numbers game. It's going to be who can pick someone out first.
So it looks like we're 14-20 into this game. Both teams have said the laning phase is over as they start to group up in mid. These mid turrets now to be somewhat of a focus. Dragon should be up within a few minutes, and so everybody's down in the middle now. That's going to be a big point of contest.
Yes.
Contention. There we go.
Yes. So, yeah, we got some time in the Dragon, but those 2 mid turrets available are exactly what these teams are looking for. The blue buff being taken away back to Mid King, very, very good. This is actually a good window for LGIM. They've taken both blue buffs in recent succession. Lilac still has about a minute and a half on his, so they've got some time here to really make some moves. Chara will have long cooldowns, not a ton of mana overall. They can go aggressive.
They tried to get that extra wall down after Mid King from the dash on Lilac, but you're right. From the beginning, I think Meteor Makers made a little bit of a mistake. They had the blue buff, they had the timer, but now with both teams getting it, it means they didn't pay attention to that. And it would have been huge to shut down Karthus in middle, because, like I said, he is so blue dependent.
He is. Now, the fact that he has Rod of Ages at this point, and he's got, right. Defile. Now, he actually did, I believe, only 1 point Wall of Pain and 3 in Defile. So his mana regain is actually quite nice. Here comes the gank on Mid King.
Oh dear, and if that Rod of Ages hasn't stacked yet, he doesn't have the HP. He may though. Oh, the last attack from the plant says no. And it looks like they push him off of that one. A very nice job. Mid King quickly getting out of it.
All right, that was a good escape right there. Burned his flash, of course. Still does not have his ultimate available, which gives, honestly, a little bit of room for Meteor Makers to make some moves. But they're letting Rumble stay top lanes. They don't have the numbers to actually push right now, and there comes Xin Zhao.
A great engagement right into the Zyra. It tops them up, and they will be fighting under this turret. It has quite a bit of health. A double kill from Karthus as the ultimate does come up, and it looks like they're going to continue to push back here. They feel like they have a bit of aggression. Kuban completely missing it all on somebody that's already gone.
That is unfortunate. Good escape there by Lee Sin at the very end there. That Rumble ult could have enabled a re-engage by Charu. Unfortunately, could not quite get that.
So a quick back and forth between both teams. Leave them in mid, poised for what looks like a quick engagement and in and out. They want to get that low health. They want to find out who has it. But that's the trick about Lee Sin. He wants to take that damage. We've already seen how good Ring is at baiting these fights in. There's the Q. He may even go in since he passed the turret, but no, there's Twisted Fate in his eye. And they are going to back off of this.
That was a nice attempt by Kuban, though. If they went in on him, whoever went in would have gotten gold carded,
right.
Possibly taken turret aggro if they didn't kill the turret in time, and they would have had some decent comeback damage. Either way, that turret is theirs. Now 2-1. It's actually one of the more sort of slower turret kill games because both teams are actually defending them quite well.
Let's take stock of the game here. Just past 16 minutes as we hit our 17-minute mark. 9-7. Just about a 2,000 gold lead. 2,500 gold in favor of LGIM, but it's been anybody's match so far. The fights are going for both teams, and the items really haven't been completed yet anywhere. The AD carries have their Bloodthirsters, and there is that Rod of Ages on Karthus, so you can kind of give that advantage because of that gold right now to LGIM.
Okay, so let's see what we got here. We got Kuban, unfortunately forced to actually farm in his own jungle.
Right.
Looking like a magic penetration build in front of him, haunting. It's either a, it's kind of weird because he has different pieces of different things, right? Like, he could be going into a Riley's Crystal Scepter, he could be going into Haunting Guys, he could be going into Warmogs or something.
Boom.
He is going to be Haunting Guys. Riley's likely to follow up after that. So, unlike the semifinal we just saw, it's a much more damage-based Rumble here. Looking for Haunting Guys, he's going to look for Leandri's Torment as well, and he's going to be really burning things down, and it's going to be up to LGIM to kill him quickly. The difficult thing is there's a lot of things that are putting out very consistent damage. Dr. Mundo, good consistent damage. Twisted Fate having a decent game here actually. He's going to have good damage as well, and actually picking up Home Guard, so you can always Home Guard, ult in from the fountain and get to battles rather quickly. And of course Graves, he's having a pretty good game for himself. Look at his gold right there, 5,800, not too bad. He's going to be a damage source too.
So Lilac expending Graves' cleanse down bottom. If the dragon's about to come up, it is getting somewhat pinged. This would be a very dangerous fight to come in with all the crowd control of LGIM onto Meet Your Makers. We can see Graves actually not even trying to get engaged in this fight, and they go on to Libic. Libic, oh, he's getting caught out from the beginning. He gets himself out, though. That is going to be the perfect re-engagement if they choose to. So many abilities wasted. The teleport in, it's going to be Destiny still up, but he gets absolutely obliterated. The Wall of Pain shreds the magic resistance, and they just plow through the jungle of Meet Your Makers to get another kill, possibly. Lee Sin connects with a Q. The resonating strike to follow. It's going to be the three-talon strike to pick up the kill, and they finalize the ace all the way across the map.
What a beautiful fight there by LGIM. Completely perfect engagement. And the difficulty there was that both Xin Zhao and Leona were incredibly tanky. So the counterattack damage, the Rumble ult, the Zyra ult, it didn't actually do that much. And then with the two biggest teamfight ults down, LGIM has said, great, we have a free chance to fight this one. They popped the Karthus ult, got the early kill, of course. Everyone else low on health. Easy re-engage there. Life's good for Incredible Miracle.
Life is good for Incredible Miracle. Fancy puns, freak. I'll sign up for some lessons too with Jason.
Okay.
Cool. So the wards still remember to be placed. You know, there are a lot of people that come up here, a lot of the Brazilian summoners, the Invocadores, saying, guys, we played well, but we're not in the tournament anymore. How can you still say we played well? And it's really minor mistakes that were made. And coming into these games, there's still being mistakes made by these teams. LGIM got beat by Cade. So we have to see that, you know, they have done very well for themselves to come into this tournament and see these teams that can still beat international.
And right here, basically, it really can be anyone's game. You're only seeing a 6,000 gold difference. A really awesome engage by LGIM, but these fights can still go any way. There's a lot of damage still available on Meet Your Makers, a lot of beef as well. Dr. Mundo very close. Actually, he's got enough money for the Warmogs at this point, so he's going to be a giant frontline meat shield. And what's going to really matter for Meet Your Makers is how well they can survive the sort of front-end burst. Most of LGIM is very front-end focused, and then it's like, okay, how well can Karthus and Ezreal sort of clean up there? And that's going to be kind of the major factors. They've got amazingly good engage, really strong burst, and then 80% as strong sort of persistent damage as they have burst, and we'll see how that pans out.
And it looks like we got the cards going down bottom. A quick jump onto Lasha here. Going to take quite a bit of damage. He'll go down eventually. Libic doesn't want to take it. He's just kind of walking around. He does have the assist on it already. And it's going to be that bottom lane push right now. Zaru is going to be backing. His teleport is not up, but his team says we have a good aggression here. We have vision of Lilac in middle, so we'll have to see how this push goes and if they will decide to back.
Okay, so right now, actually, Meet Your Makers, that was the kind of the things they needed to do there, was to make moves. That is what Twisted Fate is good at. As long as you're not stupidly far behind, you can always go for that teleport, try to force a kill, and just turn a game around. They've built themselves a 5-on-4, and they are just forcing this turret, getting it down to about half health, but that is what you need to do to get back in, is find those openings and put some damage output.
Great damage from Ring, knowing there's no crowd control there as Grasping Root was used. Livic getting hit up again. He just knows the crowd control is not there. Look how confidently aggressive Ring is right now, starting a fight by himself. They could turn around and burst him, but they know he'll find a way to get out. Here comes Lilac, who was pushing middle. A Zyra ultimate is going to miss. A beautiful disengage and re-engage here from LGIM.
And Lilac is way too tanky to care at all. That's a beautiful engage right there. And Ring just recklessly chasing Meet Your Makers, saying, I dare you to fight me, I dare you to fight me. Xin Zhao's coming. Great pull from LJM to pull that guy over. And this is the one thing I've actually seen from these Koreans so much now, is that they're able to win really long battles. Xin Zhao comes up late, they're able to chase people down, things like that. A fight starts, and then 20 seconds later, people on Meet Your Makers are just dead because they're able to just sit there. As MYM tries to run, they're not able to run.
It looks like we're going to have top lane being pushed back out by Ring. He is doing some fantastic things for his team, if not grabbing kills. Getting the impact plays. Lilac getting caught out now. He may have a chance to get out of this one, but the gold cards may be too much. No, the Solar Flare coming out. They try to turn around and burst. Great job by Leona picking up that kill. Actually, it was going to be Xin who still picked it up at the end.
I think Lizard Buff ticked over the sunlight damage, something like that. Good pickup either way. Good pickup. So, all right. LJIM, they've been trading kills back and forth now, of course. A lot of aggression, and Charu actually has Summoner Teleport up by the time he revives, so he is still going to be all over the map all the time, over and over and over. And I think it really is on Meet Your Makers to find opportunities here, because the more I look at LJIM, seeing a more damage-oriented build actually from Xin Zhao, Sunfire Cape, Hexbreaker, he actually also has persistent damage. So I love LJIM's comp as a team fight composition. They have, I think, really all their bases covered. Good initiation, good burst, good crowd control, and good persistent damage, as well as good durability. So they've got kind of all bases covered. LGM did a very good job in champion select. Meet Your Makers, though, has their ace in the hole being basically Rumble and Twisted Fate. They can participate in fights very, very, very easily, and if they can stretch the game out like you're seeing here, right? You see Twisted Fate at the bottom, Rumble at the top, trying to stretch these fights out and make these 3-on-2s, make these 2-on-1s. That's where their advantage is going to come from.
Meet Your Makers just trying to clean up the rest of the camps in the jungle. You can see them spread out in somewhat of a line of scrimmage just down the river there as Zyra goes to support Zaru in that bottom lane. They do have some aggression there. They have the teleports, but with Zyra down there, the Baron could be very tempting. There is a Madrids on Lee Sin. They have some good objective damage coming in there, as well as Karthus. If he can get that blue buff, they'll be able to shred that Baron. But right now, the focus is put on mid. They know they can pull Zyra and TF just back to mid and start to dictate a little bit of the game for them.
And here they go. They're going to try to find mid king. The wall of pain is down, but here comes the engage.
A very nice collateral damage. Just way too much front end burst coming from Graves. They're going to dodge out on that Zyra ultimate. It was only for really Ring. And it looks like they start to back off. Rumble's having some fun with Lasha top. A very nice safeguard as Lasha puts himself back in the fight. I think that was the opposite thing that Ring wanted to happen.
I think he was trying to save his teammate. He tried to also go back. Oh! Almost got back in on Kuba. Yeah, everyone said the same noise. Ooh! Right there. That is a sound, by the way. Like, you know when something whizzes past your ear and you kind of feel the wind? That is actually Pulsefire Ezreal's ultimate near a champion. Just goes, ooh! It's like there's ghosts nearby.
This is mid lane being pushed. Remembering to ward, as we've seen this at the end of Season 2, the beginning of Season 3, the lane wards just smack dab in the middle to give that enemy positioning an entry into their own jungle if they want to come out for those objectives. You have a better idea. 41,000 to 35,600. These guys are not too far away from gold. We've seen bigger deficits come back. 17 to 11 on the kills at 25 minutes in here, and it's 5 to 3. Freak, looking at this individual gold, we got a few 9,000s on one side, but that 10,000 for Ezreal is going to be coming up big. Like we said before, True Shot Barrage can be an almost 1,000 damage nuke near end game.
And that is huge because he's probably the safest champion on this map right now. And when the safest champion has the most gold, he can kind of carry LGIM out of pretty much anything. Even if Meet Your Maker starts winning a bunch of fights, Paragon probably will not go down unless something catastrophic happens to him, and he's going to put out a whole crap ton of damage overall. So it's going to be, I think, very difficult for them to deal with him. And if I'm reading his items right, he's building towards a Trinity Force here, so he's going to be putting out good crowd control, good burst damage, some extra movement speed on top of the static shift he already has. It's going to be very hard for him to deal with this guy.
Now, how do you feel about the reason for engagement from Libic here on the Boots of Mobility?
Well, Boots of Mobility, I think it works really, really well, basically, because we've seen supports do that for a couple of years now. It helps them sweep with wards, it helps them get around the map. Honestly, since he is the least safe champion on this lineup, him having the mobility to be like, I see you, Leona, and being able to run away, dodge the E, things like that, that's really vital for him. Generally speaking, like, Libic is going to be away from his team a lot and needs to get back into those battles over and over because he's going to be out there warding.
Mundo looking to be going for the Randuins next. They're just trying to shut down the dive-in attack damage, and that has to be the second best item they could have built besides the League of Warmogs right now, because it is all based. Lee Sin, Lilac on Jin Zhao, and you have Paragon, who probably won't get hit too much by that Randuins, but that attack damage is going to be obliterated when they get into the fight.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult for them to deal with. So basically looking at what's being built at right here, we've got Charu at the bottom, and he's doing quite well for himself. He's very, very close to Lichbane here. His gold, 470. He's about 500 gold away from Lichbane being completed. I was actually hit the right button to show him. There's Charu. He's having a very, very good game. 3-3-6, and this is actually why you've seen Twisted Fate banned against Meet Your Maker so much, is he has made, I think, 3 times in a row impact plays. Big, absolutely impact plays. The reason this game is even close right now is because Twisted Fate has just made things happen on this map and just done bad things to LGIM. And he's kind of MVP for me right now.
A super amount of burst coming in here for Graves. He does pick up that Infinity Edge. We already saw him unload that front end burst onto Mid King last time, and he was not able to withstand it. Coming in here onto the Baron is going to be Kuban on the side. Kind of puts a lackluster harpoon in there. I don't think that would have hit anybody, even if they were near the wall. Coming in from the bottom side, TF to get the teleport in here, but he's going to match with his team. No, he just throws on Destiny so his team can see, because he still has the teleport up. They place the ward. The Wall of Pain goes down. A beautiful job, because that's going to section off the fight very nicely. Zyra's ultimate almost useless in its use, and it looks like they will be able to re-engage here. The exhaust going down onto Zaru, and he falls. Too much health for Lilac. He's just able to walk in and out as a health drinker, or hex drinker rather. Keeps him healthy is what I wanted to say. Libic looks to go down. Libic doing that just to keep the rest of these guys alive, but it may not happen.
The Zyra passive killed Karthus before he could ult.
Wow, an amazing stop of damage there. And it looks like they are all able to get it out. Good call, Freak.
Mackler lived because Zyra died. Oh, I'm sorry. I can't get over that. That's awesome. But the thing is, LGIM still has a 4-on-2. This is their inhibitor.
Pushing through here, LGIM so confident in their fights, and they have been from minute 1, Freak. We saw the way Ring was playing a level 1 red elixir dive from Lilac in a 2v1 situation to pick up first blood, even though, like you said, he kind of gave up a little more gold. Didn't mind. He's still plowing through this. 6-4-9 to a 1-6-2 rumble, and he's also about 40 CS ahead.
And that is just huge for him. I mean, he's been doing very, very well all game. He was most of his team's deaths early on. I think he was 3 of his team's 4 deaths at the beginning, but he's had a very good game for himself. I mean, he is that frontline initiator. His job is to take a lot of punishment, and he's on his 2nd giant belt now. So he is just getting beefier and beefier and beefier. The Xin Zhao is going to make life very difficult for Meet Your Makers. They've been very good at starting fights.
This time it's MYM to start the fight. They do have a good amount of tank in there. They will be able to take the damage. We've seen a lot of Baron steals this tournament, ladies and gentlemen. It could be another one here, but Ring's taking quite a bit of damage. Won't get stolen by True Shot. Does not look like they'll pick it up anyways. And here comes the engagement. A beautiful equalizer. Kind of shuts down any initiation Lilac wants there. Freaky just said he's going to be the first one in. You can see him just grinding through the slow, trying to get that initiation. TF is going to quickly go bottom lane and start to give them something else to think about.
That was absolutely perfect play by Meet Your Makers. They saw LGIM had kind of bitten off a bit more than they could chew, recalled back, didn't have the movement speed to get in range, and the way they dealt with Ring, the way they stopped Lee Sin from getting in there to attempt the steal was absolutely perfect. They landed so much crowd control. The smoke bomb from Graves helped deny vision. The root coming out from Zyra, absolutely amazing. And then on the top of that, they knew everyone was coming in right from here, and the equalizer right on this line stops any any chance at all for an engage to come back from LGIM. Beautiful turnaround there. 5,000 gold game. Meet Your Maker's putting on quite the show.
Let's look at some finished items here, Freak. It's a very scary looking Karthus. It hasn't really been playing a zombie Karthus role, more for defense of that line when TF comes in, throwing down that wall of pain. See if he has started to give that some levels, and he has. It's actually it's his still least one.
So
Yep.
Pretty much got all he needs. Yeah, so he's a really big factor, though. Buying the Zonia is really smart because he's been twice now kind of found by Twisted Fate and been like, oh, that sucks. Let me go ahead and do something different here. So the Zonia's grab, really good for him. Void Staff would be more damage, but he's choosing to go for durability here, which is something I kind of got to respect here, because that's kind of the motif here of LGIM is we'll tank through you, and then Xin Zhao, Karthus, and Ezreal will kill you off in the end.
As they move down, looks like for what will be a dragon attempt. Libic just missing on that. And they will begin this, just shredding it down. It's not even going to be a problem. It's not something that LGIM should be worried about too much. They're still up 3,000 gold. It's 20-12 in kills. But that Baron is definitely going to make a formidable Meet Your Maker. So I'd say in the fight, when they hit it up, it's going to be even gold.
I kind of agree that basically with Baron buff here, they're in really, really good shape. I think their actual power on the map, they've shown themselves sort of, I think multiple times in a row, as kind of the stronger team fighters. I mean, that sounds weird when they're down 8 kills, but just the feeling I'm getting from this game is Meet Your Makers feel like they're ahead, which I am having a kind of a hard time understanding why exactly, but that's what the game is feeling like here. MYM are generally doing better right now.
They're definitely closing the gap, especially it was so big in the beginning, about 6,000 gold before, brought down to about 3,000 now, almost about 4,000. 6-3 in turrets, so the objectives are still keeping LGIM on here. I guess that's where they've gotten the gold from. It's just what they needed. 8 kills onto Ezreal, of course, is going to make you pretty rich. 12,000 gold to himself. He's only 300 gold above Graves, and that used to be about 1,000 gold. So now that the 80 carries are coming a lot closer, we were saying one of the safest champions on the map is the richest. That's almost not the case anymore.
Oh, certainly, and that's going to be kind of, I think, where the fights sort of revolve around is how good is Ezreal's target selection going to be? How many people is he going to be able to kill? How much damage is he going to put out? It's going to be a lot, but the thing to worry about is there is a very tanky front line. If Dr. Mundo gets on his face, he can block Mystic Shot, which is a significant part of Paragon's damage output. And so, you know, one of the big interactions here is going to be Ezreal, Paragon, and Mokate on Dr. Mundo. If Mundo can soak up all of Ezreal's damage with that Randuin's, I don't really know where LGIM's teamfight power is going to come from here.
You can see them pinging on to Mokate. They're saying, you kind of want to get an engage here, or at least put some wards down. You can see him going a little aggressive in the jungle. A lot of pings going down for Meet Your Maker as they look to be doing somewhat of a pinch here, but now that they are seen with Wall of Pain, that makes them back off. Mundo going to go top lane? No, he's going to swing around here. All just placing the wards down. So vision being grabbed, no objectives on the map. The vision is just really for that next pickoff that somebody's going to make a mistake on.
Exactly, and when you got a Twisted Fate on your team, he's going to look for pickoffs so much. And you can kind of see the LGIM, aside from Lilac, are sticking very close together so that they can react to that teleport, show up in time, keep themselves alive. I got to admire the sort of bravery here from Twisted Fate because, well, suddenly here comes a 5-man push. He either split pushes or goes back right now. It's going to be a very interesting situation.
They are going on this quite strong. It looks like the bottom is being pushed still by Zaru, always waiting for his destiny to be up, and he is going to be teleporting back to home base here. He's going to that bottom turret, inhibitor turret, grasping root onto Lilac, but we've seen Lilac completely just tank turrets and not really care about a situation, and that's where they're wasting their cooldowns. Yeah, you want to do some deterrent damage and you want to get them off of that, but you got to be careful who that's going to, because a lot of times you'll see things like Tab saying, oh, there's an Anivia wall, let's dive in.
Yeah, and that was actually a really good wall of pain at the end there as well. It really stopped Meet Your Makers from being able to engage past them. Most of these guys have to walk forward to kind of do their fighting.
Yep.
And when you fight off a giant crowd control team who can wall of pain you, and then when you do finally come in, Xin Zhao knocks you back. At least Xin can knock you back. Leona can stun you up. Not a good place for them.
A lot of aggression onto this turret, quickly taking it down to half health. Ezreal well within range to just put damage on that turret, and there he goes. The focus straight onto it. The yellow card coming out as they just continue to get damage. Another style build for Paragon. Likes to go for that static shiv, as we pointed out before. Some of the carries doing that as well to add an ability or something to your kit that you don't have, that wave push. But really, these guys are just going 5-on-5, and their siege ability is incredible right now.
And the thing is, MYM right here, even without Baron buff anymore, can pick a fight. I was actually, you saw Dr. Mundo play very, very close up, and I almost thought he was going to go for a dive. You pop a Zolt, try to face check someone, maybe a flash stun card from Twisted Fate, but they're being still very defensive here, Meet Your Makers. They've got time before Baron respawns, about 1.5 minutes, but they've got basically 3 minutes until their inhibitors back, which is going to be a risky proposition when Baron comes back up, because they're going to be a little bit low on map control. And I'm not sure how MYM's going to react to this when that becomes the next major objective.
That was really, really great mind game by LGIM. They saw the Destiny go down. They were backing and figured that the Meet Your Makers would leave that turret alone. So they just went in, face tanked it, picking up another one now, 7-3. They're all down to the inhibitor turrets on Meet Your Makers' side for their first game here in our second matchup of the day.
And Charu's back on split push duty. That ultimate's going to be back in 56 seconds right here. Running back to the bottom lane. Now, there's no major objectives up, I don't think, before he's going to have Destiny available. The difficulty becomes, well, he's got no vision of this bottom half of the map. He doesn't know if he's going to get ganked out of nowhere.
They actually don't have vision of the top of the map as well, so they can't see that they're going to Hytale Baron until now. So, does he stay? Does he go back?
There's Baron. Yeah, sorry.
No, Baron does come up, but he does stay. He stays in the bottom lane. They know they may lose this. The teleport is down. His Destiny is down. A perfect window for LGIM to do this, and I'm sure they have considered it. It's going to be very low. A great ultimate on the backside of Baron Den is going to push them into the fight, actually, but they keep themselves out of it. It wears off. Lilac throwing himself into the middle, and they're going to be right onto Graves. This is what Mokate wants to do to Paragon. They are just able to shut down that 80 carry one more time on him again. They just continuously punish him. The Zonia's going down from Mid King, and a beautiful engagement from Meet Your Makers. LGIM says, nuh-uh, we're bringing this one back in our favor. Double kill coming up for Karthus.
That was really good for him, but Twisted Fate has gotten at least one turret, and they did stop Baron. So, actually, sorry, 3 kills. Yeah, that is pretty harsh, but, I think that was the best play that MYM had available, honestly. I don't think there was much else they could have done there. And so, oh wow, nice move by Twisted Fate. Actually popped Destiny to get out of range of anyone counterattacking and then recalled back. Just had to make sure he wasn't going to get picked off. Smart move by him. But basically, that was the best thing Meet Your Makers could have done. LGIM did a very, very good job of rushing down the Baron. I think it was a little bit sloppy by TF to run bot without any teleports when they should have had Baron timed. But as far as losing 3 and getting a turret, that's probably the best outcome they could hope for instead of losing Baron.
So Jaru, we just saw him use that Destiny, but I think he's timing it. It should come up at the same time teleport as well, but they're going to have to go in right now. No more vision after that ward is down. Zaru coming in with no wards for himself. He can only listen to the cards that he throws, but he doesn't even decide to do that. The Wall of Pain for vision, the Baron for LGIM. The card, ooh, very close, very close.
That was amazing intuition. He timed that purely by guessing.
Yep.
That was pretty excellent.
I mean, even if the wall kind of gave him like, hey, they threw a wall down to see because it's going down, he still guessed that almost perfect.
Yeah, no matter what happened, that was pretty freaking awesome. But LJM still with the Baron, they had map control. Everyone else from MYM had been forced back to their base, defending super minions, and that's kind of what happens, man. You got super minions diving in the mid lane. Someone has to deal with them at some point, and that gives you the map control for Baron. So that was the very intelligent second step there for Incredible Miracle. Take the inhibitor down. When Baron comes back up, we should be able to get Baron safely, and they did.
Looks like Mackler comes down to pick up Dragon with Libic. Rumble continues to push bottom lane. Still, you were right, went for the Rylas, not the Warmogs. The Warmogs being built by Mundo with that Randuin's Omen, as we said before, to just shred the attack speed of Lilac and Ring as they get into these fights. But so many completed items on both teams. And actually, wow, Zin building the Thornmail for Graves.
He is basically trying to he's trying to jump onto Graves and just deal with him. Thornmail has the most armor per slot in the game. That is the biggest armor item you can buy with a flat 100 right there. And he's going to go all in. He's going to be beefy in the front. He's got a lot of health. He just wants to tank that out.
So much free damage, and he knows he is reading Libic so much to go in and dodge all of these grasping roots every time.
It's very, very good play right there. That's going to be a difficulty because Meet Your Makers has pretty good catch. If Gold Card lands, even if like a Cleaver lands, if some kind of crowd control does land for Meet Your Makers, they can follow up pretty successfully, and it could be very dangerous for most people on LGIM if they get caught.
They're right on top of that inhibitor. They were able to drop it before. Great job by Paragon keeping that focus mentality on getting the objective as his team is able to just roam around here. The Wall of Pain really separating that AD carry from the fight. They're going to be able to drop this here. No initiation coming in from Meet Your Makers. That's not good when you're forced to watch something like that.
Nope, not at all. But here we see a nice little move right there. They're actually in fog of war right okay, now they get revealed. They were right across the wall. They're looking for a chance to engage.
Sneak.
Yeah.
TEF teleporting top here, and it looks like they're going to get the top lane pushed down. Very smart move. These calls from Jaru coming in here are going to help his team a bit, but he's going to back instantly.
Yeah, he's trying to set up the minions to push, but he knows that being a sort of a 5-on-4, they'd lose their base otherwise. He has to come back here. He's going to be there in time, though.
Turret taking a little bit of damage. Lilac just sitting in the middle of everything. Ezreal ulti goes through. A very nice equalizer rather coming from Rumble, and it's going to be Lilac going down first, and that's a first for him. They are able to pull out of this fight, only losing him, but Meet Your Makers could have gained a little ground there.
They could go for this one. They could absolutely. It's a risky move, but yeah, okay, they're not going to. But yeah, LGIM was very smart that they stuck together as 4. No matter who TF went for, they would have collapsed on him in time and forced that kill down. But very good kiting by Meet Your Makers, a good Rumble ultimate, good disengage by Makler, cleanse, and the quick draw used to get out of there, and then they got the damage down. That was a very nice one.
This game becoming closer and closer in gold as we move on. Exactly 2,000 separate these teams, as obviously Meet Your Makers makes 300 gold as I say that. 7-4 in turrets, so there's a little bit of objective gold there, and map control. As we can see, just the top and bottom inhibitor turrets stand. 2 more second tier turrets in the mid and top lane for LGIM. At 42 minutes into this one, we're getting to, some of our longest matches of the week, as we have just seen some of our fastest as well. So these teams are playing very cautious right now. They consider each other very powerful and respectfully.
Absolutely, and I really got to point out, you mentioned the gold difference last time. This gold is 1,000 away, despite being down 3 turrets, down in dragons. They're down a Baron, they're down 10 kills, and yet their gold is there. And that's because of Charo for 2 reasons. One, 410 minion kills, kind of a lot. He's almost done getting items. Deathfire Grass, the last thing he can buy here, unless he sells boots, which I don't think is going to happen. But also that Twisted Fate passive, as games go on, you get more and more minion kills. I mean, count everyone's minion kills, multiply by 2. They've all gotten that much bonus gold from the TF passive.
That's, yeah. Love having that TF, love having the loaded dice, all the extra gold. Everybody clearing the waves now. They're kind of a lull here at 43 minutes. It's something you find when you have that 5-on-5, almost full item engagement. Everybody is at their peak form right now. Every spell that's going to come out needs to hit perfectly, and if it doesn't, it's going to mean bad things. We've seen Kuban use the ultimate at Baron that was used perfectly. Well, they still didn't have Baron taken down, but they were able to still capitalize on being in a terrible ultimate. So Kuban still has to hit even better ultimates. LGIM is playing very well right now. Lilac and Ring are coming up so big.
And that's going to be, very difficult, because you've got 2 big tanky guys coming up big. You've got 2 giant meat walls who are going to put out really good damages and a lot of displacement, and they're performing excellently. It's going to be hard for you to deal with them.
A little bit of a siege on the bottom turret. This seems the one they want to focus on while Baron is down. They can go to that top one and have a little bit more map control, but they want to dictate the fight at this bottom inhibitor. They want to take it down. Their mid lane actually is not pushed up quite that much, so nobody has to go to middle. MYM has a pretty good defense here. They should be able to clear this. Oh, wow. Paragon taking a lot of damage. Collateral almost taking him out, but the Warmog's keeping him alive. This could be a re-engage here, Freak. It's going to be a cleaver that hits. Another good ultimate there, forcing the Arcane Shift away. Will they decide to keep going in? Lilac goes in, spreading the entire team, but there's not much focus for anybody yet. Looks like Lilac will be the one to go down. A Solar Flare used a bit too late as Karthus goes for zombie style. He will go down. The ultimate will be coming up. We're going to see Libic go down here. Kuban will not fall, but he may tune out by Ring. Ring comes in for the extra engagement. He has help from Makler, so Ring is forced to back off.
Wow, what a great engagement by Meet Your Makers, and the catch on the Ezreal was where that all came from. He had to burn Flash to get away from the Equalizer, still died to area of effect damage. MYM, a beautiful fight right there. And Baron's not that far away. I'm looking for the timer, I'm actually not quite sure right away. But basically their inhibitor's going to come back up. They're now winning in gold for what I think is like the first time this game, basically, by any real margin. And they've been winning every fight in a row, basically.
Yeah, I think there's about 2 minutes, 20 seconds until we actually, no, 20 seconds until we see that Baron spawn. We do the math, it was 38:53. So we'll have to see if they are pushing into this. Yes, they are driving in
forcefully.
They have time
to do it, actually. They really could, while Ezreal and Xin Zhao are in base. If they went for it right now, they'd get it just in time.
And it looks like they will start it. Graves is going to be the first one there to do. They have the tanks in now. Graves with that Infinity Edge is going to be able to shred this down. Graves actually buys a Randuin as well. Awesome pickup there. Looks like Ring trying to do what he can, but he's just locked down once again. They play this one perfectly, Freak. They pick up the kill, and this time they should be able to pick up the Baron. Almost taken there. It does go to Mundo's Smite. The reinitiation. MYM looks very good on this. The Solar Flare does not hit anybody for the full stun. And Mukate is able to take a good amount of cooldowns. Here comes the Destiny. Will he grab the gold card? The Defile is on, so they're going to have to walk through this one. His Zonias should be up. He does use it. Zaru will still fall, though. Very good job by Paragon, keeping himself in the fight with such low health. He has that double buff on him. He is going to be able to take Libic out here, and the Mystic Shot hits for the double kill. It looks like the fight is finally over.
That was nice engages right there at the end by Mid King and Paragon. Libic, a little too aggressive there, to be completely honest, but nice attempt, of course. But now you've got the situation where Meet Your Makers, again, another team fight win in a row. 3 for 2 that one. Even with those 2 cleanup kills at the end, still 3 for 2 in their favor. Good job getting rid of Ring right there, just layering that crowd control, keeping him from moving and burning him down. And now, of course, they've got Baron Nashor. Their middle inhibitor is back. They can start making some moves.
Freak, I think this is the most gold we have seen in a game this weekend. 7-4 is the turrets, 26-20 is the kills, and I don't think it's ever been closer at this point in the game as well. We're creeping up to the longest match, and these guys are just playing 100% on both sides. Like I said, that ultimate from Kuban has to be better than good last time, and we saw it force Ezreal's flash as we go back a few minutes and just talk about the fights that have happened leading up to a momentum build here that, although 26-20, is starting to put LGIM on their heels, very much so.
Yep, and it surprises me too, because I had pegged LGIM's team as a team fight team.
Yeah.
They are very good at 5-on-5s. They engage off of Leona. They put a lot of damage down. They've got great damage dealers in Fed Ezreal. They've got a Karthus. Like, this team should be amazing in 5-on-5s, and Meet Your Makers are just finding those opportunities. They caught Ezreal on the right-hand side and just removed him from the battle, basically. And then they said, great, we have a numbers advantage. And just kind of drove down there, picking up kill after kill after kill after kill. And before they respawned, said, great, now we can Baron. Ring came to stop Baron. They focused him down, crowd controlled him, killed him off, turned the fight around from there, 3 for 2. Over and over, Meet Your Makers are finding these not 5-on-5 fights. Yep. They're finding these 5-on-1s to start, getting that guy low or dead, and then moving up from there.
There's a lot of percent health damage. You got 2 Leandries on that side of Meet Your Makers versus the Sunfire Caves Warmogs being built up on the other side as well. There's actually 3 Warmogs just for that to burn against. So they are really itemizing against very hard. Although the Thornmails, you could say the same thing for LGIM.
But the difficulty is that the damage at this point isn't all coming from Graves.
Right.
The entire game, Kuban has been itemizing magic damage. He's got Sorcerer's Shoes. His first items were Haunting Guise, Liandry's Torment, and Riley's Crystal Scepter. They're itemizing so much against Graves. The only MR item they have up until recently was like the Runic Bulwark. They finally got Abyssal Scepter. They finally got Quicksilver Sash. They finally got another Negatron Cloak there on Ring. But like, look at a Lilac. He's got a Hexdrinker and Mercury Treads. Where is your magic resist? You've got to be able to withstand the damage coming out from Twisted Fate, the damage coming out from Rumble, and they aren't.
Very true. Only a few people benefiting from that Bulwark with such a gap-closing dive team here. So once they are under the turrets, we'll have to see if it fares in their favor a little bit more. 50 minutes into this game. Second matchup of the day in our best of 3 here at the Intel Extreme Masters Brazil. We've seen a lot of great play this weekend. First time seeing Mundo here, first time seeing Leona. These teams have definitely been able to bring out some special stuff.
Yes, and the funny thing is that Dr. Mundo is regenerating health so incredibly quickly that he'll just sit there and tank a turret as Graves puts some damage on the back door. And he'll just run around, make sure he doesn't get hit by skill shots, and then he's back to full health. I mean, he's tanking turrets and then healing up and tanking them again and doesn't really care.
So, Freak, this has to be scary. Going through Champion Select, or for LGIM, I should say, going through Champion Select, we kind of poked back and forth, and you said these guys have pretty much chosen their comfort characters for themselves. There was hardly any swapping done with that. You know, Lilac grabs in, Ring grabbed Lee Sin. But with their comfort champions, they're seemingly to be thrown out of that comfort zone here.
And I don't quite know what it is, except for that Meet Your Makers are just making moves that, you know, throughout the entire mid-game. Twisted Fate was forcing just bad things to happen to the other team. He just kept finding kills where kills didn't exist for any other champion in the game. It was Twisted Fate and just Twisted Fate that said, aha, no, Leona, you're going to die in what you thought was a 1 versus 1 under your own turret. It's actually a 1 versus 3, and now you're dead. Finding Mid King in the mid lane and killing him off and starting out, I think, like a 3-for-1 battle off of that. They just found those engagements over and over and over again, got themselves a 6,000 gold lead here, and now they don't even need that so much anymore. They can kind of just mash heads together and probably come out ahead.
Zaru 21 minions away from 500 on his minion score. He actually doesn't need CS anymore, but he is being a huge push factor. He has used his teleport and that Destiny. I think Destiny can come up like 3 or 4 times within the time of a teleport, but he is using it all over the map to farm, to push, not to engage, not to see where they are. I mean, the last time he used it, he just went to his own blue buff, and you can see how they kind of scatter, but really, he doesn't want anything to do with them.
Now, instead, though, he's just constantly using Destiny to spot out LGIM, make sure no one's getting any flanks on, and then he doesn't really go anywhere with it. He just kind of uses it and then says, hey, my ult's down, you should totally try to engage.
Yeah.
And he just summoner teleports back into battles. He's very interesting with how he's using his ultimate here. I've not really seen anything quite like it, but he's using it for more map vision than anything else most of this game. And he's got, I want to say, yeah, he's got max cooldown reduction because he's got 15% from that Deathfire Grass, 10% from the blue elixir, and he's just all over the place. And of course, also 15 from his E.
So they're about 30 seconds early on Baron. They got to be careful here. They were trying to just probably draw out the bait, but I think both teams have the timer at this point. 26-20, a lull in kills, but not in action. They have still been in each other's faces, is what I want to say. 83,000 gold to 76,000 gold. Now quite a demanding lead being pulled into Meet Your Maker's side. 53 minutes into this game. Again, at this middle turret, and they've really only touched it a few times, but there's, you said, 21 health per tick coming onto Mundo. You can just see it coming off of him. It's not even hurting.
Nope, he's not going to care whatsoever. Got even more health regeneration. Picked up a Spirit Visage now as well. And there we go, the 6th turret. Ironically enough, LGIM are still winning in turrets. They've killed an inhibitor twice. They haven't, I mean, there's been barely any headway into Incredible Miracle's base. And yet it just feels like now all the cards are in MYM's deck.
And this could be a game-changing move here, Freak. There are no second-tier turrets on the map, and at this point, at 18 minutes, that Death Chamber time does give the team enough time to advance through your entire base. The inhibitor is up for Meet Your Makers. This is their best chance to fight against this Baron. They cannot lose this opportunity.
Yeah, right here is going to be a very important fight. I expect Baron to be the focus much more so than turrets right now, because it's kind of easier to turn off a Baron when you're Dr. Mundo than to turn off a turret at this point. So Meet Your Makers, right, I'm trying to look for an Oracles here. They've got one on Twisted Fate, of course, because he's richer than Donald Trump at this point. You know, I think he's done very well gambling for himself. He's made his millions, and now he just buys potions all over the place.
They are starting to poke at this Baron, just clearing out the wards, allowing Lasha to do his work with that Oracle. The Seed is going to be able to stop that. I like the attack on the Baron there. It is going to do some damage, but so tanky. Ring and Lilac more than happy to stand in that Baron damage as they continue to take it down just on the outside. The equalizer again to push them out of the Baron den, but that's the one that didn't work as well last time. A great kick. Shredded is Jaru. He's forced to use the Zonias quite early in the fight. Everybody is. King still has his, but he goes down. The Requiem is still there for use, and we may see that come down. Does not look like Mackler will stay alive. He tries to auto attack to get his health back. It's going to be Mundo and Libic on the run now. Libic in the eyes, the arcane shift. He got the grasping root. That was very nice, but it just wasn't enough. And you can see Lilac so determined to find where Mundo went, but actually he's going to go for the inhibitor by himself as Mundo backs.
Well, they've got what could be really a 4-on-1 right here, and Dr. Mundo not exactly the best defenseman in this game, so this really could be LGIM closing the game out and killing the Nexus right here. We'll see if they can do it.
He does have a lot of health. His ultimate is down, but on a very quick cooldown. He's probably looking at about 30 more seconds on that. Actually, about 15 to 20 seconds on that. So he can stay in here and take a bit of damage. He does have those home guards on himself. No, he does not have home guards on himself, so he can't get back to defend quickly. And we just see Paragon ripping through the turret. Lasha there to help him. Not anything Mukate can do, and it looks like they will start to focus on the Nexus Freak. After being on their heels for so long, they find a mouse hole to fit through and find the Nexus.
Excellent job there. Life's good for Incredible Miracle once more. Game 1 is theirs. Very, very well played right there. That last team fight just went their way completely. They lost one champion, Karthus, which is kind of the one champion you allow yourself to die. That's probably the best one to die. If one had to go down, little zombie Karthus, just fine right there. Meet Americans, there is them on your screen right there. And I gotta say, Charu, I didn't like his teleport in the last fight right there. He was in range and was able to be caught. You know, I think that he thought LJM would go back to Baron, would be a little more defensive there, and that he wanted to teleport aggressively to find a stun. But LGIM went in right there. They went right on top of his debate. He had the Zonias basically immediately, was brought down as soon as Zonias went out, and that was a brutal fight. They needed his damage output. He was the most farmed guy in the game. And TF did not have anything to say in that last fight.
And when you're fighting vertical, you don't want to throw down horizontal rumble ults. Easiest thing to get out of. We'll actually have to see what the experts have to say about that game.
Well, there we go then. Game number 1 as we fight against the Sao Paulo Audio here in the Campus Party 2013. Game 1 goes to the Koreans in the end, but they made hard work of it, Joe.
It was an amazing game, to be honest with you. I mean, so long, 50, almost an hour long game.
Yeah.
Which in the end, as you've seen there, could have really gone either way. Always, when it goes that long, it's always one fight and you win or you lose. That's it.
In the end, Jason, it came down to the huge fight at the Baron at 54. But we're going to have to go back a little bit further than that to around about 46 minutes when the first or second to last Baron fight occurred.
Yep, so it's 24-17. Currently, LGIM is winning in kills, winning in turrets, but obviously losing in gold. And it's a big turnaround point for Mutual Makers as they finally do get some sort of just foothold in the game. As you can see here, they do catch Ring. He gets a little over-aggressive here with that nice stun card out of Charu. The kick, honestly, not going to hit as many people back as he needs, so they pick up that kill. But the mistake is, out of LGIM, they committed to it. The Ezreal ulti almost stole it away, and to see that nice equalizer just sets up the entire fight with the gold card coming out of Charu. And they just kill him off one by one.
Yeah.
We just see at the end, though, Libic, for some reason, just got overly aggressive. I'll speed it up just to show you about where it is. He gets overly aggressive for no reason, ends up dying because of it. I mean, he's not going to kill them. He doesn't really have the damage. And I wanted to say he was trying to die to them a little closer just so he can hit him with his ulti, but as you see here, doesn't use it for a long time. So, I mean, Mutual Makers came out with that. They came out with the Baron. They came out with 3 people surviving, but I mean, obviously not as clean as you want it to be.
Yeah, so that was at around about 46 minutes. Now, up to that point, Joe, it was slow and methodical all the way through from LGIM. They had kill lead, they had turret lead, they had gold lead. And then right at that point, MYM then suddenly started to look like, hey, maybe they can do this.
Yeah, the thing is, MYM played it exactly how you should play it when you're behind, which is farm as much as you can, only take the fights which you believe you can win, turtle up as much as you can, take minimal losses throughout the entire period that you're going up with that one, and that's really how they got themselves kind of back level and even into the gold lead by 50 minutes or so into the game.
Yeah, so 45 minutes in, they were actually behind on gold, kills and turrets, but then that was the point that MYM just started edge ahead on gold, as you said, farmed it out, really got himself back into a position, but then we've got another replay now which just shows you towards the end of the game, because this was the key fight, Jason, that ended the game for MYM.
Yeah, very true. I think I'm actually going to be a little bit behind here, but the real thing I wanted to point out during this entire replay is Charu. If you watch him the entire time, you notice that he wants to go for a push on the spot lane with that Lich Bane, with the items he has. He could take this turret down very quickly, take down Inhibitor. He has a huge mini wave. He could potentially push for the win if Mutual Makers held them off of, held them from going back. So you see him coming down here. He gets spotted by a ward in this bush, and because of that, you do see LJM go in and they start that engage fight, or they start the fight pretty much right away. And that's pretty much just Mutual Makers going to lose that fight just because Char wasn't there. He was in a bad position, ended up having an ulti in, and just as you see right there, I mean, he's right next to Ring, who kicks him back in the enemy team, and 1v4, he's forced to flash, pop the Zonias, and obviously he's too low to do anything about it. Without that flash get over this wall, he's just going to fall off and die. And LGM, they played a very good team right there. They made pretty much a victory out of a mistake.
And that's one thing I want to point out there as well with the Zonias is you've got Rumble and Twisted Fate who both popped it at like literally the same time, and that gives that time then also for LGIM to say, okay then, let's spend time hammering the others. When you come out of that, then we'll go back onto you. And that's exactly how that fight went down. And it was kind of just like it was a hard. I think it was a right decision in a way for Meet Your Makers to send Charu in that direction.
If he committed to it, I think so.
Yeah, well, it could have been a game-winning choice, and we'd all be sitting here now saying, what a fantastic choice, how clever is Charu, how great are MYM, but as it was, that was always going to be the defining fight at the end of the game. It went the way of LGIM, so they've won up now. They were very patient, weren't they, as well?
The thing is, in that last fight, is that you noticed Ring, he flashed ahead of Charu when he was teleporting and kicked him back into the team, and that right there completely set up that fight for them to win it.
Yeah. So yeah, as I was saying, very patient all the way through. They didn't rush, even when the mid-game seemed to be getting away from them, and MYM were clawing their way back in. LGM, no panic, just waited them out.
Well, we saw their first group game against a Nexus where they won, but they actually made a bit of a meal of it.
They did.
It wasn't. I'm not sure that making a meal of it is what they were actually doing. More of following a very set game plan that they had, which was, what as we always call it, very tutorial style. Every single outer turret, every single inner turret, every single inhibitor turret, every single inhibitor, really going through the motions to finish off the game. And okay, it wasn't quite like that by the end of that one, but it wasn't far off, and they stuck to a game plan for as long as they could there.
Yeah, longest game we've had so far at the Intel Extreme Masters in Brazil, 55 minutes and 48, and the highest gold count as well. What are we going to get in game number 2? Well, we'll find out fairly shortly. We're going to take a very quick break. It'll be around 10 minutes time, and then we'll come back with game number 2 for LGIM versus MYM.